This video looks at the integration of sine squared x. So the integral of sine squared x dx. The fonts up here don't do the squared very well. And also the integral of cos squared x dx. Now there's no rules for these. It's not like derivatives where you can do it as a chain rule. There is a method of doing it. You can learn it off by heart, or you can just derive it each time, no pun intended. I don't learn it because, you're only going to get at most one question on either sine or cos in an exam. So I derive the formula for it. And it comes from, if you think back to your preliminary trigonometric functions and the expansion of cos 2x. Now this was the one that there were three different ones. It's cos squared x minus sine squared x. But then of course we can replace cos squared x with 1 minus sine squared x. And we've got our other minus sine squared x. So we've got 1 minus 2 sine squared x. So that's one that we can look at. Okay, and eventually what we do is make sine squared x the subject. But I'll do the other one first. So the other one is cos 2x. The initial one you always remember is cos squared minus sine squared. And then if I change the sine squared to a cos squared, 1 minus cos squared x, I get 2 cos squared x minus 1. And that's the other one we're going to look at. And we make cos squared x the subject. So I'll box those in. You can write those down. They're from last year, so you should remember those. If not, learn them now. And that's the one we start with. Okay, and you can use that to simplify trig equations or expressions. But for the terms of integration, it's that one there and that one there. Let's take the sine squared x one first. So we've got cos 2x equals 1 minus 2 sine squared x. That was our first substitution. So let's make sine squared x the subject. So I'll rewrite it on this side. Unnecessary really, but I know some of you like that. And then that's minus 2 sine squared x equals cos 2x minus 1. Change signs. 2 sine squared x equals 1 minus cos 2x, and divide both sides by 2. Sine squared x equals a half minus a half cos 2x. So that's the first one you can choose to remember. And whenever you've got to integrate a sine squared x or any form of it, this is the substitution you make. And the reason is we can integrate a half, it's a half x, and we can integrate cos 2x. That's just a sine x, half sine x. So that's the first one. And the second one, go back to blue, was cos 2x equals 2 cos squared x minus 1. So we're going to make cos squared x the subject. So 2 cos squared x equals cos 2x plus 1, and then divide by 2. So it's a half cos 2x plus a half. So they're similar, they're very similar. They've both got cos 2x in them, a half cos 2x. One's a minus, one's a plus, and they've both got a half. So the only difference is if you rewrite it to make them the same, it's a half plus a half cos 2x, if that's the way you want to remember it. So, oops, that's what you need to learn, that one right there. So one's a half, sine is a half minus a half cos 2x, and cos squared is a half plus a half cos 2x. So as usual, sine and cos are very, very similar.